Ladies, my name is Chaz, and welcome to Who, What, or Custom Card Review. So, this is the 3.0, so it's going to be short because if you haven't watched the original one, the 1.0, the 2.0, go check them out. But this is the 3.0, so I am going to do 2 cards of this archetype because one, yesterday, or whatever you're watching this, long time ago, or probably in the near future, you're probably watching this, or at some point, one of you guys that I was doing said that this card that has no effect. No PSCI or one. But I understand. I came and yeah. So let me read this effect out. So if this card is activated, you can shuffle all cards from your hand, graveyard, and banish zone. The opponent, I thought they were talking about like you need like to shuffle all cards from your hand, graveyard, and banish zone. But no, the entire like card effect is like basically, yeah. So that kind of hurts my feelings, but I'm just gonna go over this card because I should do like top 10 people that, or like people's types of that I do not like. So yeah, so this card, I do like it because it's pretty cool. It has unique effects of destroying all cards earned on the field. It's basically like the black hole card, the spell card from back then, but it got remade into this archetype with a cost of shuffling all cards from your hand, graveyard, and banish zone into the deck. And yeah. And then destroys all cards from the field except Starland cards to the graveyard. And their effects are negated. So basically, I was playing against this rude person that played Hang. So let's say my opponent went first, or I go first. So let's pause it. And he was playing like insect tricks, Rick's X archetype thing. And this guy, or this person, and saw the spell card. Here, let's fast forward it. So, yeah. you go. I think that will be good. So, yeah. So, my opponent decides to do, like, pull something crazy. Let's go fast forward, skipping all this. And then got his. Yeah. So then the part. Yeah. So then all this stuff. Because I think it was very rude of, like, this guy to, like. Yeah. So. Yeah. So then the whole thing. So this is gameplay footage of my deck thing that I made. And sorry for my, like, because I might am going to go get the new phone, so yeah. And basically this card. Sorry if it's jittery for you, because it's, yeah. So then, and this one, you can pay life points to add certain cards. Yeah. And then this one, hold on. There we go. Yeah, and then camp. So, this one, the monster can't go to the graveyard, so you can't resolve the effect. So this card right here, this poor little guy is getting picked on by this person because it, yeah, because it, yeah, just so have made me try a little harder on PSCT. Him resolves without effects. So I don't know what that means. I want someone to explain it, because we have cards like the those ones. I think those people, or I think he needs to be on the ban list, because I don't like people that are being very mean to, like, my beautiful card. So yeah, let's close that. I don't want. So yeah. So let's continue this custom card review. So it's supposed to have the effect of, like, if it resolves. Basically, if this card is activated, you can shuffle all cards. That means all your cards, your Bannerstone, Graveyard, and hand into. Or wait, let me rephrase that. Your hand, Graveyard, and Bannerstone into your deck. So basically, it doesn't matter what cards. It says all cards. So the person that was in this video that says it resolves with no effect, basically, yeah. it has the effect of it pays a cost us and the of destroying all cards from the field except Starland cards. So it means all cards. So basically so these spell cards like mystery or mystical's chest of the Starland is safe. Um Most of these cards are safe because they have Starlands in their text or in their name. So then to the grave, their effects are negated until the end of the third turn, and if you do, add 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard, or no, to the hand. This effects cannot be negated by card effects, can't be changed by card effects. So you can only use this effects for once per turn. But at the end of this turn, you take no effect damage from battle or from card effects. So basically, yeah, it's weaker than other cards like this one that you can use, and like every time you pay life points, you place a counter on this card, and this card allows you to basically pay life points for each one. So you're basically giving the mystery or mystical chest the coins after coins. And because it was 2 people, like me and him, or whoever that person was, and that made fun of this card, is now completely. That's why I choose to hang out with Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! Or the dueling, or the dual logs. Because both of them are just that. So now we push beside that. Now we're on to this new card called Ultimate Adventurer of the Starlands. It's a light, level 4 warrior effect monster. If your opponent activates a card effect or declares an attack while this card is in your hand, it's basically a hand trap. So basically you can reveal this card from your hand. Special summon it to your field in attack mode. If it does, then negate the card effect or attack instead and make it the end phase until the next turn. So it has once per turn during either player's turn. You can select one spell/trap card, shuffle it into the owner's deck. And then both people basically draw 7 cards, but they only have to return 5 cards back into the deck. So basically, it only leaves you with 2 cards. Yeah, and then, yeah. But if this card is sent to the grave or banish zone, you can shovel this card into the deck, add 3 cards from anywhere except this card to your hand. You take no damage from battles involving this card. Yeah, so basically you can select 3 cards. Like you could add this card, and the this to your hand, and you basically, yeah, because Starlands in this in this archetype is basically a. If I told you the entire story, it would probably take extra 15 minutes. So, yeah. So the kingdom, I'll just shorten it up. So there was this kingdom that had the knights, but the two knights were brother and sister. Basically, Bane, Knight of the Starlands. He's like he's basically a shield, and then the Crystal, the noble knight of the Starlands, is basically a sword. Turn. I almost had those two backwards because yeah. And both of them and they both like came from eggs of Starlands, and they're special kind. And then we got Egghead and ones, and basically they live at this castle called Kingdom of the Starlands, where it gives them protection against like card effects, and yeah, can be destroyed by card effects. So basically, Mirror Force or anything that doesn't target it will, yeah. Plus, you can activate one of these. Like you can shuffle one card into your deck, activate like probably mostly would be number 4 because you destroy all cards from your opponent's field and hand into the graveyard, and their effects are negated until this card leaves the field. Add 2 cards from your deck or graveyard or banner zone to your hand. 3 is like basically your opponent can't activate any card effects or summons any monsters until the end of this turn. Normally, you can have a 4th one, is all the above, so you can activate all 4 or all 3 of those effects at the same time. So then one of the people, not a adventurer, or not the ultimate adventurer, but some random person wished for a sword thing, and they got the sword of the Starland one, and it's equipped to a monster. Yeah, so then the noble knight, or it had negative energy on the user, so the guy was cast out and became, yeah. But the crystal, or no, the not crystal, the sword took control of her brother actually instead of her. And so her effects basically, if so, I'm trying to think. If your opponent activates a card effect, so basically, yeah, it references it. So then his sister breaks the sword, and yeah, then the soul of that sword urn thing came out and starts attacking everything. So then the Dark Wishes entity punished it and like destroyed it. And then yeah. So then, but the fragments ends up like causing a massive earthquake, or like fragments went everywhere, and but the light entity shows up and stops the attack from, or stops the fragments right in their place. And then yeah, but they sure do know how to manages to give the money to the wishing well thing, because they actually have, hold on, they actually do have a wishing well in there. Let me. So yeah, they have a wishing well that, yeah, I forgot to add these three. So, or this and this. So the wishing well is basically, most of these spell cards are continuous spell cards because, well, it's continues its effects. Basically, like the given of the Starland is basically you you basically pay life points, is basically like coins to like to get cards, and then the mystery box, or mystery, or mystical chest of the Starlands stores them into itself. And then and then wishing well is basically similar to given of the, instead you add 4 cards, and if you do skip their battle phase, so basically you can't, if you activate its effects, you do not battle, you do not activate its effects, because of it doesn't allow you to go into battle if you use its effects. So then we got sell and or selling or buying of the Starland is basically, once per turn during your draw phase, you can shuffle all cards from your hand to your deck. Add the same number of cards from your deck or graveyard or battlefield to your hand instead of drawing them. If this card is sent to the grave, you can, or battlefield, you can shuffle this card into the deck. Add 3 cards from your deck or graveyard, except this card, to your hand. So basically, selling and buying in card or of the Starlands is basically like you're making profit. You're basically like, you draw a card, you activate its effect, returns it to the, and then you add cards to your hand. So like if you use Pot of Greed before, and then you wait your turn, and then you activate this card before, and you drew 1 card, you can send 3 cards to the graveyard or back into the deck, and you can select 3 cards from your deck, or from 3 cards from your deck, if that makes sense, to your hand, not like drawing them. So yeah. So basically, so this one allows, or 2 cards that allow you to, or both players to pay life points, and then so basically that boosts this card's like counters things by 4. on this card. So because its effects basically says once per turn during either player's turns, if players pay life points to activate any card effects, then you can place one counter on this card. So yeah, basically it doesn't have counters like to until you use like combo with this and the wishing wheel, because both of them is pretty much like you basically activate both of their effects or all three. You basically won this game because you can add cards. Both players add cards instead of drawing them. And plus, the only trade-off is basically losing your battle phase, if you really think about it. Yeah, and then, but if this, so most of these cards can work by themselves or work with others. Like this one, it needs one dark heart monster, and the other, like his light counterpart, needs one light monster. You can activate one of these effects, but this one has negative effects, basically like lose 1,000 life or you pay life points, destroy all cards, that's one. You discard one card from the top of your deck to the grave. Then you gain 1,000,000. 1,000,000 million. Yeah, 1,000,000 at life points. Your opponent, or so that was number 2. Number 3 would be like your opponent must discard 5 cards from the top of their deck to the graveyard. Then number 4 is both players switch life points. Yeah. And the other one, this one, is basically helps both sides. You basically gain life points. Both players draw 5 cards from the top of their deck to their hand, switches life points, or all of the above. So basically, you always choose the all of the above because it's going to be cool. So then if this card is attacked, so basically like if your opponent had Clear Wing Synchron dragon thing attacks into this card, you can activate this card's effects. Basically makes it lose defense, negate that attack, and then make it the end phase. If this card is sent to the grave or banned zone, you can shovel this card into the extra deck. Special summon the fusion materials to your field in defense mode. But their defense points become double the... Yeah, so basically... So, like, this one could be at 3,000 and then the other would be at 2,000. Or... Yeah. So, if you guys want me to do like, the types of people, like top 10 people that I do not like, like any Yu-Gi-Oh cards things, or like any games, let me know. It only would be dedicated to the card games, like Yu-Gi-Oh or Fortnite, because I don't play Fortnite because I don't really know what hunt because I hate am pretty bad at cards, or bad at those games. So, peace out, y'all.